Super Rugby AU round 10, the final regular season round, which was essentially the story of the Force and the Rebels, which one would go on to crack a third spot to face the Brumbies in the semi-final. The Force needed to get a win over the Reds to keep their destiny in their own hands, but the Reds were undefeated, so more likely they needed the Tars to do them a favour. But what happened? Let's start with that first game. Goodness gracious me, what a result. The Force, 30 points to 27 winners over the Reds. What a phenomenal game. If you guys are in Perth, you're probably still getting over this one. What a result. Unbelievable. Nobody gave the Force much of a chance in this one, to be fair. Remember, the Reds were 7 from 7 going into this one. Unbelievable, unbelievable. And it started not only with the news that Perth was going to go into like a 3-day lockdown from midnight that day, but that also Tavita Kurandrani gets yellow carded within like the first minute for a tip tackle on Paisami. So it's not the greatest of starts. And then Paisami gets a try a few minutes later just to rub a bit of salt in the wound. He goes through about 4 tacklers, to be fair, and the TMO has to check the grounding, but it's all good. 7 points to 0. Good start for the Reds, not so much for the Force. That being said, the Force managed to hit back through that man Olawafela. He had a pretty decent game, didn't he? On the 8th minute, there was a bit of a bobbled ball. I think they had to check that it didn't go forward off Miotti, but once Olawafela got it, he put that hammer down, and he was absolutely gone. So 7 points apiece during the yellow card. Decent return from the Force there. That being said, the poor defence on Taniela Tupou led to a try on 11 minutes. He goes through Holmes, he goes through Stunder, and Anstey as well. I mean, Tupou is a big unit, and I would not want to tackle him, so it's hard to be too critical of guys for getting smashed by Tupou, but 3 of them should have been able to bring him down. But that's what Tupou does so well for the Reds, and it's 14 points to 7. So they've managed to score 2 tries in the yellow card period for the Reds and 1 for the Force. They get back to 15 men, and about 10 minutes later, Pulu gets yellow carded for repeated infringements for the Force. And then about a minute later, Dalgunu gets a try. It's an inside ball from McDermott, and it's way too easy. 21 points to 7. So the Reds have scored 3 tries when they've had the extra man up. 21-7 is looking, it's looking pretty bad, to be fair. It's not looking like a good day at the office for the Force. It does look like their fate is going to rest in the hands of these guys from New South Wales. That being said, TK, old Tavita Kurandrani, smashes Paisami once again, this time legally. And interestingly, Paisami, I think he goes off. I don't think he comes back from memory, right? I'll have to double check. But yeah, and that was a big old hit on Paisami. On 38 minutes, the Force go about 10 phases. It looks like Kaitu'u has gone over. Has he been held up? Petaya's under there. They check it, and indeed they check that it is a try. So right before halftime, the Force, they missed the conversion, but they at least managed to bring it back to touching distance, 21 points to 15. Halftime stats, the Force have had more possession, 55% more territory, 56%. The knock-ons are actually pretty low, 2 apiece. But the Reds have had more run meters, 227 to 177. Kicks from hands are pretty even. The craziest stat in that first half is defenders beaten is 21 to 1 in the first half. Unbelievable. I mean, half of those are probably Taniela Tupou, to be honest. Second half, there's a yellow card to Petaya for taking out Olawafela in the air, so we get more mismatches in terms of the number of guys on the field. And a few minutes later, Olawafela gets another try. They check if it's held up again, but it's not. It's like, I don't know, every time the Force score, they have to check if it's held up. Maybe that's just a thing. They go for on-field try, and there's not enough evidence to overturn it, so a good try for Olawafela. Second of the night for him. They missed the conversion. It fades right, but it's 21 points to 20, so suddenly really big-time game on. 52 minutes, James O'Connor kicks a long-distance penalty to settle things down a bit for the Reds after a bit of a shocking start to the second half. So for them, at least, that's a bit of a buffer. 24 points to 20, take it beyond a penalty. But 56 minutes, the Force win a scrum penalty, which is not an easy job to do against that Reds pack. Very, very... It's not the only time. They won a few of them, to be fair. They kicked that penalty, so it's 24-23. Back to a one-pointer. Just when you're getting your Force Momentum going. Another yellow card. This time it's Thrush. That's the third one of the game on 67 minutes. He takes out the 9, and the ref says, no, that's too many penalties, and you're off, son. 27 points to 23 because the Reds kick a penalty. That's the final scoring of the game for the Reds. 73 minutes, the Force win another scrum penalty. That leads to them going through some phases. They take a run down the left wing. Kahui puts in a nice little grubber through your man. Who? Oh, little fella. Gets a bloody hat-trick try, man. Unbelievable. That makes it with the conversion. 30 points to 27. And that's during a yellow card as well. Unbelievable. Unbelievable stuff. The Force have to kind of run the game down. They don't do themselves any favours when Pryor gets charged down by Udu right at the end of their own goal line. The Reds call for a scrum, not to opt for 3, which would have evened things up, but the Reds get held up. Eventually, there's a scrum on the Force's line. They go through a couple of resets, but eventually they're able to get the damn ball and kick it out. What a result for the Force. 30 points to 27. That puts them in that semi-final against the Brumbies next week. Stats, run meters 375 to 372, very even, possession 50-50. Territory actually finishes in favour of the Reds 54-46. Turnovers conceded, bad news for the Reds as it's 10-5, so not quite as safe on the ball. Clean breaks, which is an area the Reds have excelled at and the Force have struggled, finishes 10-8 in favour of the Reds, so pretty close, but defenders beaten was hugely in favour of the Reds. Penalties conceded was 16-10 with the Force conceding more. But remember, the yellow card count was 3-1. Unbelievable. Olofella finishes with more than 140 run meters, 4 clean breaks and 3 defenders beaten, plus those 3 tries. Dalgunu has 6 defenders beaten, 82 run meters and a try of his own. But man, it's all about the Force. Congratulations. I feel sorry for the Reds guys because they've got a week off now and Brad Thorne is not going to be a happy chappy. Next game was the Waratahs and the Rebels. Now, if you read the stats in this game, you'd think the Waratahs did it easily, but it's 36 points to 25. The story of this one, I guess, is, man, the Waratahs concede some soft-ass tries. Unbelievable. The first one is within 34 seconds. Lomani gets a big line break from the kickoff, and Maddox sweeps it back after they tackle him, but he gets turned over, and a cross kick from Tamua to Ely leads to a try. 7-0. Within 34 seconds, man. Unbelievable. 5 minutes, the Waratahs do kick a penalty to make it 7-3, and another to make it 7-6, so it's a 1-point ball game. But the Rebels, a big scrum. Their scrum was doing the business in this one. Naisarani beats Gordon, gets the ball to Wells. It's too easy. It's a really soft try. 12 points to 6. Rebels kick a penalty, 15-6. Naisarani, though, on 19 minutes, after setting up their first try, gets red carded for a high shot, and either he was real mad or he knew he was going to get red carded, so he tried to start a fight. Like, he was punching out at Swinton. Punching. So, like, you hardly ever see that these days, man. I don't know. Was he just that mad, or did he legit know, I'm going to get red carded, I'll see if I can get someone to bite, and then we'll both get red carded, so at least it's even. I don't know, but either way, he gets red carded. Nothing happens to Swinton, despite there was a bit of kind of back and forth. 24 minutes, the Tars got yellow card warning for their penalties conceded, and the there's a DC-10 flying over because it's Anzac Day here. That's pretty loud. I wonder if that'll pick up on the microphone. The Rebels kick a penalty to make it 18 points to 6, and they're actually leading the red card period 3-0. 30 minutes, the Tars at last get a try, and it's a beauty. Parise beats a tackle, and then inside a two-man tackle, still managed to free his arm and offload the ball to Nawanita Wase, who goes over for a try. 18 points to 11. The red card is 7-3, but the Rebels kick a penalty. So the red card's like 6-7. It's 21-11. Maddox gets a try on 37 minutes. It's all action, to be fair, at the end of that second half. Nawanita Wase was the setter-upper for that one, down on the left wing. Half-time is 21 points to 18. The Tars have had more possession, more territory, more run meters, a higher tackling percentage, more clean breaks, and yet they're behind because the tries they concede are pretty poor. Second half, Leota gets another easy one from a maul for the Rebels, and it's 28-18, man. You're shaking your head if you're a Tars fan, honestly. That being said, they score one through Tizano, who's not usually known for his ball carrying. He's usually more of a tackling machine. They give the try to the TMO to make it 28-25, but the Rebels keep the scoreboard ticking over. 31-25, good penalty. And then the Rebels get a try, which just coming through pressure on 66 minutes through Gibbon. And that's probably when the game was over, to be fair. Too much pressure. They missed the conversion, but it's 36-25. I can't see the Tars getting back into it at that point. It seems like a bridge too far. 75 minutes, Hansen gets a yellow card. Too many penalties, but it's compounded further when Fa'o Masuli gets another red card for the Rebels with a high tackle. So it's 15-13 for the last few minutes, but the Tars, guess what? They can't do nothing with the two-man advantage, and the game finishes 36 points to 25. Very disappointing, man. The Tars have gone winless throughout the season. They sometimes showed promise, but not to be, man. Kemeny finishes with 12 from 13 tackles for the Rebels as a substitute. Maddox had 119 run meters, 5 defenders beaten, but also 3 turnovers conceded, so not a perfect effort, man. Kicks from hand finishes 26-14, so the Rebels are kind of having to get themselves out of dodge at times because the Tars had more possession, more territory, more clean breaks, more defenders beaten, but yeah, fewer points on the board. So yeah, congratulations to the Force, commiserations to the Tars, man. Rebels finished the season on a high, but that gets them ready for Super Rugby Trans-Tasman, I guess. They could be looking pretty hairy for the Tars, man, against some of the Kiwi teams. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. How did you think these games went? Do you think this makes the Reds very much a beatable team? The Force can do it, the Brumbies can do it, or the Force can do it again. We will see. And it's the end of the line for these two until the Trans-Tasman comp gets underway. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. Like the video if you got 12 minutes into it. It'd be appreciated. And yeah, I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.